Time changes everything. See the legends today. Fame is a powerful illusion. We freeze our favorite movie stars in time, remembering them as the untouchable, dangerously handsome, and invincible heroes of our youth. But time is the one villain no action star can defeat. What happens when the studio lights finally turn off? Do these larger-than-life legends fade into quiet obscurity, face tragic downfalls, or do they find a deeper purpose as their hair turns silver? Today, we are pulling back the curtain on 20 of the greatest screen legends in cinematic history. Let's find out how the icons of yesterday are living today and pay our respects to those who have taken their final bow. 1. Harrison Ford became unforgettable through Star Wars and Indiana Jones, where his rugged charm, crooked smile, and reluctant heroism made him one of Hollywood's most iconic action stars. Now 83, he passionately stars in hit television shows while actively flying his private planes, balancing his Han Solo legacy with fierce environmental activism and a quiet, grounded life in Wyoming. 2. Sean Connery became unforgettable through Dr. No and Goldfinger, where his suave accent, lethal charm, and tailored elegance made him the definitive James Bond of his era. In his later years, he completely walked away from Hollywood to enjoy a highly private life, playing golf in the Bahamas before his death in 2020 at 90, leaving behind a legacy of masculine sophistication and cinematic immortality. 3. Gene Hackman became unforgettable through The French Connection and Unforgiven, where his everyman toughness, volatile energy, and immense screen presence made him one of the greatest character actors of the 20th century. Now 96, he peacefully enjoys a decades-long retirement in New Mexico writing historical fiction novels, balancing his Popeye Doyle legacy with a deeply private life far away from the cameras. 4. Steve McQueen became unforgettable through Bullitt and The Great Escape, where his icy blue eyes, rebellious swagger, and genuine love for fast cars made him the ultimate king of cool. In his later years, he desperately sought alternative medical treatments in Mexico before passing away at just 50, leaving behind a legacy of anti-hero magnetism and an effortlessly cool style that defines menswear to this day. 5. Sidney Poitier became unforgettable through Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and In the Heat of the Night, where his quiet dignity, blazing intelligence, and moral authority broke racial barriers and changed cinematic history. In his later years, he served globally as a diplomat and an inspiring author before his death in 2022 at 94, leaving behind a legacy of profound grace, courage, and a trailblazing path for generations of actors. 6. Anthony Hopkins became unforgettable through The Silence of the Lambs and The Remains of the Day, where his chilling stillness, piercing gaze, and masterful vocal control made him one of the most terrifying and brilliant actors alive. Now 88, he joyfully composes classical music and paints in his California studio while entertaining millions of fans on social media, balancing his Hannibal Lecter legacy with lighthearted humor and undeniable creative genius. 7. Morgan Freeman became unforgettable through The Shawshank Redemption and Seven, where his comforting presence, quiet wisdom, and unmistakable, godlike voice made him the emotional anchor of modern American cinema. Now 88, he tirelessly continues to narrate documentaries and star in major films, balancing his Red legacy with his passion for beekeeping and running a massive nature sanctuary in Mississippi. 8. Cary Grant became unforgettable through North by Northwest and To Catch a Thief, where his perfectly tailored suits, mid-Atlantic accent, and flawless comedic timing made him the absolute gold standard of Hollywood leading men. In his later years, he completely retired from acting to devote himself to raising his only daughter before his death at 82, leaving behind a legacy of timeless elegance, romantic charm, and the illusion of effortless perfection. 9. Kirk Douglas became unforgettable through Spartacus and Paths of Glory, where his dimpled chin, explosive intensity, and relentless physical drive made him a true titan of the Hollywood Golden Age. In his later years, he remarkably recovered from a severe stroke, writing books and dedicating his vast fortune to charity before his death at 103, leaving behind a legacy of fierce independence, survival, and unparalleled longevity. 10. Michael Caine became unforgettable through The Italian Job and Alfie, where his thick Cockney accent, thick-rimmed glasses, and working-class charm made him the defining face of 1960s British cinema. Now 93, he has officially announced his retirement after his final film, cherishing a relaxed life with his beloved wife, Shakira, balancing his legendary status with the quiet comfort of a life well lived. 11. Clint Eastwood became unforgettable through The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and Dirty Harry, where his icy stare, lean toughness, and quiet authority made him the ultimate screen embodiment of masculine cool. Now 95, he stubbornly defies retirement, focusing on directing his final cinematic visions, balancing his man with no-name legacy with the iron will of a true Hollywood maverick. 12. Jack Nicholson became unforgettable through The Shining and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where his wicked grin, dangerous charisma, and electrifying unpredictability made him one of cinema's ultimate legends. Now 88, he has quietly retreated from the public eye, enjoying a highly guarded retirement in his Beverly Hills compound, balancing his renegade legacy with the peaceful solitude he finally craves. 13th tie. Paul Newman became unforgettable through Cool Hand Luke and the Hustler, where his piercing blue eyes, rebellious charm, and effortless elegance made him one of Hollywood's most universally beloved leading men. In his later years, he dedicated his life and fortune entirely to his philanthropic food empire, Newman's Own, before his death in 2008, at 83, leaving behind a legacy of immense generosity, grace, and class. 14. Marlon Brando became unforgettable through The Godfather and A Streetcar Named Desire, where his brooding beauty, raw emotional power, and revolutionary acting style changed the medium of film forever. In his final years, he became a notorious recluse, struggling with his health and personal tragedies before passing away in 2004 at 80, as leaving behind a mythic legacy of tortured genius and untouchable screen presence. 15. Robert De Niro became unforgettable through Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, where his explosive intensity, obsessive dedication, and coiled physical power made him the gold standard of modern method acting. Now 82, he relentlessly continues to act in major films while surprisingly embracing fatherhood again late in life, balancing his tough guy legacy with the unexpected joys of his growing family. 16. Al Pacino became unforgettable through The Godfather and Scarface, where his burning eyes, theatrical energy, and terrifying outbursts made him one of cinema's most magnetic and imitated leading men. Now 85, he still tackles passionate indie projects and reflects on his life through his recent memoirs, balancing his Michael Corleone legacy with a surprisingly tender, philosophical approach to his final chapters. 17. Charlton Heston became unforgettable through Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments, where his chiseled jawline, booming voice, and towering physical presence made him the undisputed king of Hollywood epics. In his later years, he became a fierce political advocate and bravely faced a public battle with Alzheimer's disease before his death in 2008 at 84, leaving behind a legacy of absolute authority and larger-than-life grandeur. 18. Gregory Peck became unforgettable through To Kill a Mockingbird and Roman Holiday, where his deep, resonant voice, unwavering moral compass, and quiet decency made him the very soul of classic American cinema. In his later years, he spent his time producing and touring with his one-man show and sharing intimate Hollywood memories before his death in 2003 at 87, leaving behind a legacy of absolute integrity and gentlemanly warmth. 19. Sylvester Stallone became unforgettable through Rocky and Rambo, where his droopy eyes, muscular physique, and incredible underdog spirit made him a global symbol of resilience and action. Now 79, he proudly anchors reality television with his family and paints in his private studio, balancing his heavyweight cinematic legacy with the surprising warmth of a devoted girl dad. 20. Arnold Schwarzenegger became unforgettable through The Terminator and Predator, where his massive frame, iconic Austrian accent, and unstoppable on-screen power made him the biggest box office draw of the 1980s. Now 78, he vibrantly runs his daily fitness newsletter and advocates for environmental causes, balancing his action hero legacy with a deeply positive, motivational mission to pump up the world. Time may alter their faces and change their paths, but true cinematic presence never really fades. These stars may live very differently now, but each still carries the spark that captivated the world. Which of these legendary actors surprised you the most, and who do you miss watching on the big screen? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible journeys through Hollywood history. Until next time.